show monfia mrantie mujamono pa na say sa troops are military no dey either president or vice president, because me only I say I call a central region and vice president call commander ne friend say keep kusi you fly a helicopter anka a Monday e twam go so mahin e no anka vice president e call representative president tika ya plan we be I say you be fly helicopter near the because sometimes a bomber movement and very fast and easy with me cobra crab that central region say no President Mahama echo down by
ya for you movie bia kwa ba na yem for Ambra Mega TV and platform we eso anka ne national chairman edima NDC amanyuku no yera Samuel Ofosu Ampofo a friend photo already in fact why expressing how the heart felt situation and a moment at the afa said ye ote helicopter crash ye see oboase adansi enclave amasamri Ghana isuma duru ye ena meka senya me yadoma ochena nipa nwotwe yo mu kan mu abom ayo mu aye chenchirenche pa mo national barrier abusia as film because nipa nwotwe nyina no omo parents ti ase ena sabri omo atwa na no mo nsie do na Samuel Ofosu Ampofo kiremu a since last week Wednesday ebesi this week asem no egusu a ekoso no ono Samuel Ofosu Ampofo ne bunto ne yam na onti ase se sa to genchengwe etimi to NDC onsusu senkana BBC beba da abusia one omanhene Kwabena Asante aka hypocrite journalist ena ye den atwetwe sankomo no mempese mekasa bebiri yenko na yenko tie sansem no emu nchiremu na mesro se bra conversation ekoso no na wadawroma waboa me na wa subscribe to the channel no odo comment atum na wa like page no na bibi etimi akoso quick one yenko na yenko tie nsen emu enchiremu na yakoba medina kai na ebeto aso e yam platform so yakopon koso a enhire obibia
eba be kansa yenkomo no 99% ebeye the mood of the country and then the lessons to be learnt and few one or two touches be na fi opejan mukofi say adaje ni hosa short notice doc mamena say waje brese onyi bi disanko mi menka say etiserve say hunamu de obi ehwe this in so say de ye nemum you na to ye no ahodwiri as if very much unexpected ote ne breben na ete wo sen
yo man medas sanda o kan no say wo hwe be na watch besi na ewiem ekire say ese mankranso samankanso sini trasia
na wo de asase
aka kire no so hwe senda whether no shadow are cast over the nation now we want to impie almost 1 week near it shows you say nature itself is reacting to what has happened in this country asomo to you ni bridge here abo o my Ghana no abakose mu no menti bida ehun bida nti enye asempa ma we say na edikai ka say me ankasa kwan me fa so me dete sasem no na yukwada I think last ukwada ni si
eno ade na woche
me ko kuku board na me ne me chief executive Dr. Andy Abe e meeting enti me kwa me kodu ho na e friend smaba owura me office out transia ye bekasa peno say oh what is this, what am I hearing? And I'm saying and then I said no sure owura ya kresi sapon I'm say woni mu
yeah
wasane message bi me on tiase nti oye no de kyerɛ me nti ɛhɔ na ne nso yɛ sɛ
it can be true.
I do read the social media. They say the end maybe at me pee nti no yet me frefre kakra, and at least we call people at the higher echelons of government, and then our worst fears was confirmed. Kwanya meeting the end day. Anybody be around the fire, anybody be on the fire there. Say Yankopon Katana wait me. I can't answer. Asam naturally. Nti my me dimrika me ba Jubilee House. Sa time na chief of staff announce officially. Nti me be do na delegations were being constituted. Na the vice president the delegation and I did a call Alhaji Dr. Mutala Efie ewo chado ho baby na yene abusuafo no kunafo no ade chese na ya asemo a ani enyan ma ye a wo ka ho hwe ni ye free ho no na ye call Alhaji Lemona Miniru nso ho no na the other group no nso led by the national chairman and chief of staff nso etuko ekokofo in fact initially no I wanted to be in that group because Kufudia. I convoy no ba ho me ko shame no. I just said no ye Accra convoy no. Na convoy so to Java. Now say madam me ho che show mo enye yi. Until finally I had to be with the vice president team. Yeah, they call around asama na I say I answer some I said me enya no kore me dey na say it was done on na say no kore say you no ma very gallant
Asempa FM Asempa FM
full of life obi enu ha o sorry no pa kasi ni tie ne ya
Debbie
obi enu ha kasi me na ya me ya obi a de ahoden ani nsie say kwakwa ye adwuma ne de abo o my Ghana na edukosi say utie emunsem utie na bronika friend near Mrs. say obi te say honorable Muntaka ana owo trip no so oko na Dr. Atufo friend aka chen so ye immigration for meeting bi some meeting also otinam nti o se me sign now share honorable Mutala what train the ticket or the Kukumasi and the driver I train notice Muntaka a drop out of the trip into there is a space no side at the end there Maminko John Munko. It's a difficult situation. Okay, say national chairman and the general secretary, one of them should have joined the team because it's a very important occasion when the party presence was supposed to be there. Now my information says we share fake meeting. General secretary said national chairman general secretary no so BBA to try and that you were sapon one of free Ashanti region. I don't know no bossy. You are the face of the region.
Exactly.
No. My mom corner for no yam ekotai jumadina. Sapon free Kumasi ban or the car never meeting. Man a driver car. Say for na kushiame. Okoya. Wama atreachum say na to. You know Baji, young man, 35-year-old boy.
Asempa FM.
My friends have me banner.
Asempa FM.
Me national chairman no buy be home. Catch them so. Me politics here no fe. Nti opese me mentor no. Na me church no den na iti me di musa kakra. Nti I accepted him as one of my mentees. I have a number of mentees. Me bo am kakra politics mu. Nti ono so be one of my mentees and I'm a political science. Nti me kai pass 2020 or the campaign launch our boss. Me and me call launch a campaign no man. Interestingly, that day na me who MP a parliamentary candidate I manifesto to see na party for your manifesto Abuaja show the manifesto at me outlining the challenges facing Obuasi East and how he wants to overcome it in all the process. I mean, launch a campaign, you know, some launch it manifesto. I'm launching.
Wow.
Now, share a juma because we'll be in say Ashanti region and Adansi Juan Casano. It's a very difficult area. We'll be a winning.
Yeah.
Apart from 1992, when people for boycott election, be a winning Adansi Juan Muda. Now, 2021 Paba assigned to Kakra, me or Hano frame, so or fear going to my but still, the design and the passion is of best woman and crop for or a sample contest a year primary snip. Now, me, I don't also a contest here. What me, he declared them as winner initially.
Until
well, true and true by an idea and as a son. In fact, he was traumatized into a frame. Let me say about the brand crime. No boy fear. When it transit, when Kasaya and I'm catching say, lose election is not the end of your life. I even use myself. Now, the example says, "Well, what's making me election lose? What is there be a what be any more what me but now me acquainting no shall be a or dear me acquire sending me about to the top was the Tibiano, Emuano, he appointed as Deputy Director General for NADMO in charge of protocol. And 1 week service our NADMO headquarters. Me call Hono. Now it's in someone NADMO 4 car. Abuaji was the embodiment of humility. Or Breno was down to earth. No, so. Assembly by Director General so or no affair say or Pobi or Bako representative on one I know and secret about just saying microphone or hunting. I want to go and serve my people into Meko. These are people. How more you want to come almost 7% almost more money. Abuaji Koya. Abuaji man now talk of it. Ni widow. Ababa work. Kuma ne mami you ni when you cram in your say what do you be 6 years and I say, and I get one cry the true no. Mammy, you know a jumbo, and young widow. Sir, I feel Oba, you were Muntala. Na Oshe Muntala Juma Waye, in him dear.
Asempa FM.
One of the
Asempa FM.
Interesting and fierce debaters in this country. So, radios now debating issues or facts and figures. Now he's very strong in his conviction. Or you'll be what you say integrity, any patriotism, any sense of nationalism. From the way he speaks and everything in our HSR. No, so we quite fast or the exchange in life. I mean, so we have been just say ya boto e be si na yesane ye ho a enyi na ye nua eye alaji miniru menino me who almost 3 decades of over 25 years. Oh, and me who miniru me kai pa say da Ghana a ball match for South Africa Samuel Ofosu Ampofo nation sada na kamadwen say feel no me say makuma no madwen me fa ni football chibi anything me what me pa because teams am support or me makuma pa ne madwen de me ya to nchen no support because that day asemo to me no na anohye. You know that day Miniru was in my residence. Wow. Ekofobia. Minya George Sapon oye NMC Media Commission Executive Secretary. And minya about her friend no Alaji Ishak and so no ye Director of Local Government. Ya nanti ache ishia ogimpa kwa ye course early be almost 25 years next ye kambo almost that did the 3 of them on ba me ha on titi form na yo TV That is how far I have come along with Miniru. Now, Oyobia Opejuma. And I can tell you, say, one of the trusted envoys of President Mahama and Miniru. Binamika trust, say, Obesumo be say, at least from what I know, in the 5 northern regions, no small be a mana. And Miniru no Besumo. Very trusted lieutenant. Deliver resource. Obey Minister of Agri. Obey Hunajuma. Oh yeah. And he's been around, but you'll be a money be honor a covert activities. How we not the resource at the Abba. And also, Yamati and say, all alone or here presidents name for Sunia there or no for one. No Osman ye bibia anti no pesanka sajuma na oye na aje na mo bia pe complimentary card that I take akra edaso and so mo de mo ma me position nya bia me sai ahwe so 2 weeks just about 2 weeks I appointed him as acting deputy national security coordinator. I'm in the first major trip a year official trip okono and okoya wa mabi nti so we been sad dey now dream you were Sapon was more or less me puma as national major Sapon make us me puma wa Ashanti region no me kwa Ashanti region me mfaka anko Sapon ho me kwa na Sapon the driver bigina oka kodidi oni fie ye dem be kokra ho na se me koda ko sisi me ho ya de na Sapon is generous. Aduane obanu mo bia di bi ni ade oye bibia wi a pasan de me aba airport abetra jofel hokra no ne o bia special food bia me kono so me krama o me so de krama ntimi krama e bi take away na me do akrana. That is the relationship that I have had with Sapon. She say for Ashanti region the BBC bia e person obi yema BBC bia so be representing maybe we bia me ko bia no Sapon na me ne no eko enti se wo hu se me ho wo so a eye genuine ade a I mean me could not scale so and no say I've lost about 5 kilos. Wow. Within 1 week. I was surprised because I didn't know cost me nti me think and no me cast no me ne obi cast no cast so the moment me hwe abi because there gina mo me da ho na se me tese mo boss blue na no me machine no sorry me da ho me ntimi say me namfo pa then we come to Dr. Kofi Edward Kofi Omanboama. So we say it's in region. Na me na ya jumache. And then I make up by me say party history no. I was more than say ya true bia but from my own perspective so you bet me ayebi. Dr. Omanboama, I got to know him politically closely during the formation of the Committee for Joint Action. I mean this loose election, Professor Samuel's time. And then I see it mean a broad coalition. NDC Former because baby I do know. Also win an election now, you need to bring other political shades of opinion, other people on board. Until around that time, now you build a Ira Atwa fee and a CJ near meeting. I remember say Ramadan, Alhaji Ramadan, Abu Ramadan and Papa Bernard Mona, Afi Daniel Furiata, no free the Eagles stock, and a friend saying Fisheries Minister, Fisheries Minister, say Emiliata, and so said no Emiliata, no reform party, no on also Bejayan, and Dr. Percy. Yeah, and Almighty Kwesi Pratt and Ishawo Atwa Hwefi na your planet me deputy Yaw Jan no near there and near planet sa CGA activities around that time no Eno Mane Boama had just left University of Ghana as the next president. Then there was a challenge, there was a problem with the allocation of get funds. At an air pass get fund on what the year he challenged the government. Say, Oma short change friends get funds can some of the brand students near the it became a banter. That time Sana as a former for a education minister. If I stand for correction, but I think so. Inti a bat I don't know say any politicians they say on pekwan which way they be huna o manebo amaka near tell you some so kofobia could raise issues on be next president no say kohwehwe accountability money ade nti no you hu say one person mo hana adwen nti around that time no na say atwa hwe no other people
Asempa FM.
If I'm not mistaken, the first major press conference of the CJ, that is how he came in. I mean, he was an MPP person, and not the big room. But I thought there'd be a Paul Amantam, or say the camp for Behia Juma, or Beye. Now, you're winning 2008 elections.
Asempa FM.
And let me also even remind you about something that a lot of people are not aware. I'm a national organizer.
Yeah.
So I became a national organizer for about 9 years. The entire America, yeah, the break here, then on the say, 2 year 4 terms. The winning 2008, no. Let's say Congress. You could for a year 2009. But in the who say a new government has been formed. The party structures are solid. In TC, I can see it disturb near Congress near Nipa for while the government is being put in place. There was a decision to extend the term of office of that particular by 1 year. And until I'm 9 years now.
It's unbreakable.
Well, we beat me a break, but so far there, so far the generation. Until around that time, now party of Juma, yeah, party of Juma, and yeah, now be no that 4-wheel drive near them. Me car pa, minya ya na ye Porsche pa as national organizer no, Niva,
yeah,
Niva pickup as a Tata pickup. As I said, at the point of no crown no electoral commission for the chairman political parties, and I'm and I'm using as national organizer. But fortunately, around that time, I'm a sitting MP. Until my car, I'm used as a Toyota Terrano, and I'm the car was a bar for my party. You by election, be a crana, me qua. Now me used to pick up. Now me the Terrano number parliamentary candidate because I thought the parliamentary candidate needs to look good. I just said until they one man and I just also did not the year. I did it in do I did it for Barbara in Ofosu.
I did it
for several other areas. Yokoya by elections. I be Muntaka by election. Cry Yokoya near the Aswasin. Until around that time. And now Dr. Maneboma invited him and said, or per se establish NDC, our Kolebu Medical School. Who says that time no, I mean even pushing the party to become attractive in the tertiary you cannot add
very difficult.
It was so difficult, sir.
Very difficult.
Universities near there now. I said now Obia and Adrian so you real university pa. And this all join NDC. I saw him. It took the likes of people like Haruna Idrisu. By that time, not Dr. Maneboma Enyama, but two people like Haruna Idrisu to actually make the NDC attractive at the universities. Haruna Idrisu, Visa Free Ankara, Baba Jama, and then Francis Esiam. That's Francis Esiam.
Yeah, Francis Esiam.
Francis Esiam was started the tertiary education institution network or universities ma NDC Beya community Beya national organizer na Haruna Beya me youth organizer no when we move into the universities, now we're on a mantle platform. No, okasa no wie kura almost there be more sa and I think kakran to man bo ba no see yanko me mesra mo medical school no wie no ho no nti omo ye bi kwan ma ye call ya ye meeting ye medical school for call meeting kakran ho na me ko share Dr. Pierre Kubi later became the regional minister no so yeah teach you optics obstetrics and gynecology specialist who teaches science practice and a buyer then we had the likes of I can't remember what the name, but I say and no yet me bura the University of Ghana Medical School akoyejuma Amaniboma subsequently integrated himself fully into the NDC activities. I'm a Professor Mills, you're winning your Bayan and Deputy Minister. And they say, you can't say one of the legacies. Maneboma Ejaya, a year the production of the Green Book. The Green Book, which almost became the Bible of the NDC for her campaign, was produced under his Dr. Maneboma, and then the leadership like for scratching no money idea, no more year. And for him, he moved election director. No, the 2020 election. People disagree with me, but I always say that we never lost the 2020 elections because Emra Juma when we lost the 2016 election by over 1 million votes, they didn't see that, and people felt to say send this to Abraham. Yet me lose by 1 million votes. Not for your opposition there, and the next send this there. Pass it and this better about there. There is a remote possibility. Until when a camera come on here, then I'm here and I'm saying no. I want to take over the leadership of the party. And the man me bump and phobia man say, "May chairman of the party," because I know say I have what it takes to work with other people to bring the NDC back. It took us a very short time of November 2018 and Congress elected me and my other colleagues as executives of the party, and how we work within that period, December 2020, yetiminya hang parliament. Now you know why we got the hang parliament. NDC would have had majority in parliament in that election, but say to boss kakra na yanye dede bebre anadwo nka de bechino na nka enya majority ena yanom ehun se ne amanko yi yetu nipa ko tachiman sende nipa kra na biwu kra majority in the emfa mayenda ena yetu toto ba tachiman ayentime declare resource se hwi also yentime declare resource sekado ketan and also acquire bibia wo ho takwanso emukra edu ba ben mechama ho no say police soldier for ne ade born the force of the coercive forces of government edu ba bi no. Now he has to choose between his life and the friends takwanso seat. You know that was a very close thing. And so we have to give up. About 5 constituencies be over now. It was easy to form the majority, and once you form the majority, the obvious will happen. Until I can say 2020 no, then this worked so hard because that was the first term of the Akufo-Addo's government. And first term the government be a, but look at how close the election became. In the year back between 2020 to 2024 no, then the focus on the party ne say ni here ye pa ne say Ghana for beto abanama ye, but okoba bia no be some sabane beto amamo, but can you protect the ballot? So the focus of the party was to look at the election directorate and the IT. In fact, it was the first time I introduced IT directorate was under my administration, but the synergy between the election directorate and the IT was not the best. Inti, let me say, it created a little challenge. Inti, one of the recommendations was that let's put the IT and the election directorate together under one umbrella. One director of
I'll be managing
the IT and elections. They are not deputies, no. And the IT experts need be a bomb. The elections for need be a bomb. Until you realize that is how it was done. Some of the people, computer, IT for, and Dr. Atabuati, IT for, Pennyphone, and then Dr. Manobama became the director. Until the focus on ballot protection, ensuring everything goes right. And I believe that he did a yeoman's job together with his team for us to get that resounding victory from 1992. Ayeto abano. Yen share the inya victory associate and NDC ewo to test majority in parliament. It's unheard of. Now some of the regions and the feel say enye ye stronghold no krano were able to flip those regions. Intino the current executives headed by the chairman and his executives and Manoboma and his team didn't put in place to ensure that we got what we have gotten. And I was not surprised at all. Say President Bayern or the Boko Defense Ministry now because when you say defense ministry no President Bia Pesonya Obia or that which we had nani me no wada into President Kufo ba ekra no kofa ni adokufo cross adokufo dem de ko ho no mother into that. So if the president decides that you become the defense minister
odo
no nim say o
trusted
we say with me year 20, I think that is the level of trust His Excellency John Dramani Mahama had in Minio Manebwama. Enti a difficult man because my last two encounters with Omane, the first one was the reef laying na Professor Moss and say I don't know what happened, but I happened to be sandwiched between Okuyota Blakwa and the Manobwama. Ewo this no so. Enti edin komo kase Emma otwemeko ni ministry ni nyemo peso ye ne ade ne yenso ne betimi aya de beboa no. I mean, it was deep discussion. Nti at a point in time na ne yekoso okora no na ya dwen eni ho bebre nti o ye say obema me some other documents bi ne ade. Some of the details I cannot, but that was the last time enya sa almost 45 minutes to 1 hour engagement. And then I saw his deep passion for the country, how he wanted to change the face of the military, the defense ministry, and other things that he wanted to do to support the party and make sure say party manso anybody, including recruitment, and then the number of people or recruit them, and then the caliber of people, and then the insistence that the right thing must be done. And he was telling me, look, your military funding to my prefer. The recruitment must be based on merit. People must enter meritoriously. But now baby or a bit more etosin, you bet me on vacam, say beer, the English must be the ya, say beer, no, ya, she said, Nina, son of a wood in the bar, bar, or all the qualification, now military discipline, military, no so, at me, and maintain the kind of image I'm saying of now. Okay, so then the last one was an orientation program that was organized by the presidency under the chief of staff. First one was for ministers, deputy ministers, presidential advisors, staffers, and the allied staff. So, Manobwama took us through communication, political communication. Now, so we are a medical officer, but he took us through communication. We will be a question, will be any question. Say, we'll be sure I did we now say.
Yes, sir.
We any question.
And
he did it for us. And then the next batch was for CEOs and their deputies across the country. And I'm also and to make me, I can say that was just about 2 weeks ago. That last, is the fact that Omaneboma communicated with almost the movers and shakers of policy in this country. So everybody who has something to do, as a minister, deputy minister, staffer, advisor, CEO, Ubia, in a way, any interaction, and came close. I don't know. Now, say, Ukuadano, Yate say, a defense minister, middle of Eastern region. Now, Eastern region, there, when say, Bible say, and Yansafono, I'm feeling from the by, Pacho, come on, Ubian Casavan Maka. The wise man came from the east.
Exactly, that's why because what fix it to the region.
And no, until we and I just say he's a star of our region. What he and him, a boy and a Jumandra, and you may make Cocofodia Eco Drain Party, no, and the Regional Coordinating Council, a memorial service, vigil, and a candlelight procession. Okofodia, and none of you know. I thought that I had to go and do it to pay tribute to him. Now, I'm a Ghana for you who say recently, or your old student who produce.
Yeah.
One would do what different you know.
Yeah.
Or one day, Kobo say, Yanta Rusa, a whole school, as if only he knew. This is a man who has left a very big impact on the life of several people, and it's a big loss. Into President Muhammad said, "Who said, Abuto, a shaky, never ho." Now, President Muhammad has lost trusted compatriots. Normal the party has lost it. Now, the Biameka say, and the no Yankopon so a bomber. Mano, only a commanding officer, so few. I just say, wow, warrior, then warrior, say a man take control.
Exactly.
Mamma Lordina, Yankopon Namuso. And we President Mahama, a free or how can see because Metier, a year, Assemblies of God for as of Panya, Wingam, and no can say. Me crowns me who be say on our program, no need Mr. President Mahama will travel to this program if you walk around or to us what Emma say as of for I invite you Assemblies of God for program I was central region Ubeko nti amama no Yankopon nam ye yere no so no me commander in chief sir etero bia na high because commander in chief on military movement na we say phone kra one man had show boto commander in chief confirm phone no say problem it's nti yanda nyame ase say onam no so na bia nobody knows, but at least let's say in name what this country would have been if anything like that had happened.
I see. If you've just joined
me kana me salute sa nipa inumu inafi midday young military air force officers, squadron leader Peter Anala, Sergeant Ernest Adomensa, and the flying officer Chumampadu. Osho Monfia Mrantia Mujamono pa na say sa troops are military no dey either president or vice president because me only and say I call a central region and vice president call commander ne a friend say Cape Kosi you fly helicopter anka a Monday e twamwe go so mahin no anka vice president eco representative president tika ya plan we be I say you be fly helicopter near the because sometimes a bomber movement in here very fast and easy with me cobra crab ya that here ko central region say no President Mahama echo down by into your memorial service a nua obatampa aguna SMP ni kunwa yi soya na yi no ya ba na chese helicopter no de President Mahama ko down by asaya ba aba be fire e de yeko keep course go back akofa no after down by the number. You can imagine how it enhances governance processes no enti me dwen ho a na me nso me bu kompoko hemati se beye na otwe mienu ni na mete helicopter no mabisa say it could have been me. And then you know yi and atrenche mo atom I will some kwan say sabi impreduasa minua adekoka and minua sampiade trusted comrades am no mo yadwuma anje yi kura no yetimi ko twa wo mo ho ohwe ade a etene ade ada to consolation say matimi akohwe nanim apem last respect ohwe ambassador sampiade but you know me the atom no I will. It's heartbreaking, it's heart-wrenching. It is something that one cannot imagine. Now if you say sabi o ma me no tete ho abuaje me kwenran abuaje ma me etiase I have been told say someone sapon ma me ewo ho amano bo ma me etiase. It's too difficult for us, but never can say His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama Ghana for ina sunsum taiwachi man say on shedding no nyina den because sometimes President Mahama President Rollins no can say to the beer na you break it you don't make an omelette without breaking the yolk. It to the beer in the pebi at the woman enkwa etwa soji oman because ade omokoye no na komo de ji oman we see and I'm saying men see and omokwa one person ya new policy new program e betimi amaya responsible mining na ya create alternative livelihood programs for people who are engaged in mining, small scale mining. It was a laudable initiative. And to me, what I will say is that one question, and Yankopon, all my answer, it be seen there. And why?
I didn't think it.
Why? I didn't Yankopon my all my answer. No. Why me? Why them? Why did this happen? Why so be ko beating? No be so corner. Ubi se me sign ubi se me kwa kwahye na nemu na akwahye na kra. Why say na we na ekona?
So the whys are many. Why?
And why? Answer Nyankopon fa amaye. But that takes us to the Bible. Say Apostle Paul can Romans say Nyankopon nim there. How unsearchable is the knowledge and wisdom of God. You can't search it.
Unsearchable.
Untimi hwehwe nyame nim there ntiase. Nti who are we as mortal beings like us? Question God and ask God that I don't know man the basa. Because I believe that this pilot will be one of the best, because when you are flying VVIPs and the Minister of Defense, no, or not in charge of Air Force, Navy, Army.
Tinyo biakeke.
Enti ono biakeke. Enti no so no so tu kan no player. Me sure pass. Or don't make it sure say the best of the best and then the best. It cannot be say Yakofa pilots sabi ebia
bibia say bibia keke
and the way there am say pilots would mass pana ofa oma but nyame no nim. It's a God who knows, and I mean, any months bia.
Eddie said Eddie papa
very difficult for us to swallow what has happened.
Eddie pass
extremely difficult
so
for us
the
to swallow.
past 3 days on Bedroom, what I've been doing with your fiance, I still don't believe say that's what has happened. I am said the ABA. I
said film show. I said is it can it be true? Can it not be true? Just say I want to say, but comedy. Me say Yana Ofosu Amaya assurance so be a very thorough investigation na through that no yehu na see send e be ya dache e be timi de abohoban na minianu nkramofo a me no mo omo wo gidie bi omo gidie no ene say omahe so tu fie na sada na wuwo ewu na ntika mu a ka bet na be bo aku eburo dem na aku nti the Muslims believe say wo breswa na nyame so wahehye no so na mwiemu so na munsusu so na masasiasio say wo underground no ba bia wo hye bia no say wo ta amaso a nyame ebe from this one. It is painful because we ask God say these people don't deserve this death, but what can we do? Intimidna Ghana phone na nemu NDC Former National Ghana phone na him for what hard near the na nemu na salute this gallant eight say you put your life on the line of duty and you pay the ultimate sacrifice for Mother Ghana. Ni aka ye say ade na na ho kokko etia no. How do we as a nation come together to fight and ensure say the lasting memory you wait me their more say what they fought for no in their absence. They see us fighting against and making sure so we are protecting our environment for future generation.
Mesa Basu na because just like what you said, Adamu no mutu just to ensure say adia ba ko adi enya as of mine ye behwe na ye timidi no magugu akwam na akofo we about. Now I've always supported that school of thought say the best legacy is to ensure so that illegality ni betime regulate that front no enye say enu nti na eye enough for them to go that far, but the crane said say twa any hwe after this sad day, very sad day na adia nke ekokwatia na ya say bibia betinti no ekoso dia, then it means we have a problem. And I love the bit by you says it's time all hands on deck. Word of partisanship say na yetime two asie kura na asie minimize no. I'll come back to lessons we have to learn still, and then maybe one or two na wajibra kotoa ujumedes. But quality life insurance kai say ebribia da obia uhia bambo bia edobekwa kodum pempenso bia benya hotoso kakra se du sabre dia na quality life insurance for kai say wono unnecessary onyo enyasa
enti utie nsem na Samuel Ofosu Ampofo kana. You can clearly understand say NDC as a political party no omo ahwere niema, and this party called NDC no, in fact they are in a state of mourning. Not only Ghana, because it shows clearly from the national chairman position, the presidency coming down to the constituency executives no. Abusia, you can clearly understand say bibia to MPP say mumfacheme bibia to NDC amanyuko no, bibia to NDC amanyuko no papa asema to NDC amanyuko no. And no hwe na no yewura ase edum katia panyina na asema edin a ono wo party ni mu a bibia mpusu no onsuro bia, even Rollins a otini party Rollins a otini party otimi gina nanim ka say Rollins say 2012 elections no on yeden on campaigning man this year unjai ase edum katia ne kan yo okan 2012 brand ye beto aba okay, several and see on your campaign 2012 for only the onjai. This is the personal. Nano me huno, no was sinitiase, our casa no soon is where Jareno, and you can attest to the fact here and pa Ubia when the master will and this kind of master with you. Ha, I am a deal, I already. Hey, Abusia, and 7 danoshi, and 7 anoshi. Utumu say, or Duma Kumo, or Duma Kumo, I NDC among your kuna dear. Now, Ochina dear, yenim die besi because enkofo no ani abre papa omoni abre. Ghana is in the state of mourning. Anya NDC fonko anya NDC fonko de bia meka sa wo ewi obayi wo MPP ni na wo hye kokuom na ma omawuo ni yoda sebi wo ye den wo ha ho sanso na wo MPP ni na wo sorry wo NDC ni na wo tena se ma sa wo we yoda wo ha ho because odumanko wo oba de kura no onu nso wu bi odumanko wo ba de no onu nso ye de ewu bi Jesus Christ ewu bi but ne de ni se na nansa so no osan sore ma trust ne edi mu enti se wo ye nipa na wo chesasi so na ma yonko downfall o ma yonko wu o ma obi wu na se ye oda aya na de meka ne se kuse ko toto pako na obehia de ye hia and it is sad. It is very very sad. So we beti emrantie bi ni se na wuo we ni kwanse nipa we na ewu enka simasi we na we sinka ewu mete sansem na me bisa me ho se these kind of people no, do they control their future? This kind of people no, do they control what comes to them in next future and as in the near future? But what daba question to me fan kan kwana ho enso asem to bia enka benya nka sebi nipa ohun fi wiase asem to bia nka benya nka ye watamfo ene eto no. Mama yehu how I see play a cast in this country as a young politicians. Yana no more start your manual sem na you say no more start you. This is not the hatred they started with. These are not the hatred they started with. But the name ya say young boys ayaba. Me sure ka tache frifa and be from to mase se bi epatu pre. Eti yasia. Now okay can sembi and I was like, this Okateche Frifa guy, what is really wrong with his brain? Obi wo, ene weni aje ho. Bisa ho se, obechine bo. Bisa ho se obechine bo. Obi wo, ene sebi abusi binya weni aje ho. Bisa ho se obechine bo ana. Se wo nchine bo dia, se wo nchine bo dia, na ewe so yede ututu ana monsiyi. Se wo nchine bo dia, na ewe so yede unsu tutu ana mo esiyi. Because memo obi wo enyo de. Eja busafo ensem no eno no etimesro so document betum na wa like na wa share etutie Samuel Ofosu Ampofo. In fact owura no you can attest to the fact say why devastated, why frustrated. In fact ne ra ho papa and anyo no kwa Ghana fo a mo adwen Ghana ho no omo hu say ya hwera de ano ye Mega TV ya number 130 platform. Chira wadwe comment section. Bye bye.